Have you ever thought about what life will sound like when you finally retire from music? Not the applause of the last concert, but the sound of life itself. The laughter of family and friends. The music you love to hear. The everyday sounds of the world around you. That's something every musician hopes to keep enjoying for a lifetime. Hi, I'm Jeff Price, and this is Intentional Musicianship, where we talk about everything that leads to center stage, whether it be performance practice, storytelling, showmanship, and the lessons that make us better people and performers. Today we're talking about something that often gets overlooked, your hearing. Now, this episode is not about fear, it's about being intentional so you can keep doing what you love for decades to come. So here's my bottom line up front, or my bluff. We can all do a little bit better at protecting our hearing. Awareness is the first step. Checking our hearing regularly is pretty easy to do, and as educators and leaders, we can help students understand that hearing protection isn't a burden, it's part of being a professional. Now, if you ever want any more information, OSHA has public resources on sound exposure limits, and any licensed audiologist can walk you through options that fit your lifestyle. Let me take you way back at the beginning of my career, and I realized how many situations I placed myself in that were sonically powerful and sometimes just plain loud. For years, I played in a musical organization called the United States Army Field Band, and I spent countless rehearsals in front of 2 euphonium players. Because they were right in my ear, boy, I got used to a lot of euphonium day in and day out everywhere. We toured the world, played unforgettable concerts, and learned from one another every day. But over time, that constant wall of sound started leaving its mark. Now, as I was getting ready to leave the Army, I noticed that I had a steady ringing that never really went away. Now, that is called tinnitus, and for many people it shows up after hearing loss when the brain tries to compensate for what it isn't receiving like it used to. Now, I'm very fortunate. Every Army musician had to go through occupational safety training every year, and we also had a physical. Now, we know that loud sound was considered part of our work environment, so the Army treated hearing health just like it treated physical fitness or instrument care. We had hearing tests, conversations about noise exposure, and we were issued molded earplugs designed specifically for musicians. That kind of structure is rare outside of the military, or maybe in a more organizational orchestral setting, for example. If you're an independent musician or you work at a university or a public school program, you might never be asked to think about your hearing. I mean, hey, we even had boxes of hearing protection in every rehearsal room and practice room. Nobody's going to call you in for an annual hearing test. And that's why I say I was fortunate. I learned early on that hearing protection isn't optional, it's professional. For everyone else, it's sort of up to you to build this habit. A lot of players maybe skip protection for the same reasons maybe I used to. It feels odd at first. You worry it will change the blend, or you just forget about it. Sometimes people think it looks uncool, or it just sends the wrong message to their students or other musicians, or even the audience. But once you make it routine, all of that fades. The first few minutes with plugs in sound a little bit different. Then your brain adjusts, and suddenly you're hearing balance and tone just fine. Only with a little less fatigue at the end of the rehearsal. Now, there are some great options out there. You have the custom molded musician earplugs that filter sound evenly so you can still hear that full spectrum just at a safer level. And you have simple foam plugs that work in a pinch. Some educators use over-the-ear headphones when working with marching percussion or drum lines. And for commercial musicians, we have in-ear monitors that can let each player control what they hear without turning everything up for everyone. Now, I thought I'd give you a quick profile of what I use as a performer, as a coach, as an audience member. And I have various headphones I always have with me depending on the environment. And if I have my go bag, I'll have everything. So I'll have the over-the-ear headphones I might have for very loud environments, especially outside, or if I'm working with a commercial ensemble that's very loud, especially for extended periods of time, just because it's comfortable. For some of those groups, I don't need to hear some of the nuance that I might hear with a musician set of earplugs, and so I just get the sound level down. Then I have the musician earplugs I use when I'm in an ensemble setting in a room that's pretty loud, but I want to be able to hear all the frequencies and get good balance. Because they're molded, they feel good. I can wear them all day long. But these are the ones that sometimes I don't wear the most because I'm actually sort of get anxious about going to get another set. I have some foam and wax earplugs just in case someone forgot them. I've had those for years for different things. Those are good because they are disposable. These are the ones that you would keep in your rehearsal hall. I always have these things at concerts because there are different frequencies that affect me as a musician and as a performer more. And I'm too old to mess with the discomfort that I hear when I'm playing or if I'm in an audience. And so if I have a little bit of discomfort or I think I'm going to, I just put it in so I can enjoy things more as a performer, as an audience member, as a coach. I can give better feedback. I used to joke that when I was a young parent that using those over-the-ear headphones was just a lifesaver. That my daughter could be as loud as she wanted and I could maintain some composure. Now, if you've never had your hearing checked, make it part of your annual routine, right up there with dental or vision. An audiologist can give you a baseline test. They can give you properly fit protection and answer questions about your specific environment. And if you want to read more about exposure limits, OSHA has clear information on its website at osha.gov/noise. I'll put that in the show notes. It's a great place to start. Now, for educators, this is also about leadership. Students do what they see. If you wear hearing protection, they'll see it as normal and professional. Keep a jar, or we had a box in the corner of disposable earplugs in your rehearsal space and let your players know they're free to use them. Hopefully everybody has them, and those are just used for emergencies when they need something new or they forgot something. You can even invite a local audiologist to talk to your ensemble once a year. That one visit could change how they think about their future in music. And performers, well, we need to think long term. The goal isn't to make the world quiet, it's to make sure you can keep hearing it clearly. You've invested years in building your sound, and protecting it ensures you can still enjoy it when you're listening from the audience one day. So my takeaways: first, awareness is key. Know what your environment sounds like and how long you're in it. I remember being stationed up in Alaska and my soldiers coming to me with audio readings of the building that we were in. It was an old elementary school. Now, there wasn't much we could do about it, but we could wear hearing protection. Second, make hearing checks part of your yearly routine. Treat it as maintenance, not repair. I'm very thankful that I have 20 years of specific tests to understand what my ears were going through. Finally, keep learning. Talk with an audiologist, explore resources like OSHA, and discover what protection works best for you. It doesn't work if you don't use it. So protecting your ears isn't about fear. It's about staying healthy enough to keep creating, teaching, and performing for years to come. When you care for your hearing, you're honoring your craft and setting an example for everyone who looks up to you. And if you're one of those folks that says, well, I just can't play with earplugs, just remember, some things take time. And there are consequences, good and bad, for each of our professional decisions. Thanks for listening to Intentional Musicianship. I'd like to invite you to share your story or your own experiences at intentionalmusicianship.com. And before you go, start a relationship with your audiologist. Your family will thank you, and your future self will thank you. Again, thanks for joining. I hope you'll join us again on the next episode of Intentional Musicianship.